Now, before we finish the skills section, the special moves section here, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Remember when I talked about how I can do the motion into L and I throw this slow fireball. If I do it with medium, I do the sword swing and then the fireball. And then when I do it with heavy, you see that I glow yellow and you hear this pshing sound effect. And not only that, but when I hit the opponent with that fireball, you see with the light version and the medium version, it hit Catalina once, but if I do the heavy version, I glow yellow and Catalina gets hit 3 times and gets knocked down. What's happening here? Well, for every character in Granblue Fantasy Versus, performing a special move with the H button does the plus skill version, or also known as the EX special version. I always have the light version and I always have the medium version. Light version, medium version. But every special move also has the EX version. So if I do quarter circle forward this button, I come out with an EX fireball. If I do the DP, I do the EX DP. And so what's so special about these EX versions, these plus versions? Well, I mean, obviously, one, you can see more hits, more damage, knockdown. If I did the EX uppercut, you see here, I get a lot more hits. I get 6 hits. I get to do more damage. But, you know, if I do the quarter circle back version into heavy, I do the EX boot and I knock the opponent back. So what's the downside to these EX special moves? All right, so why don't I just spam these EX versions because they're so much better? Well, the reason why the EX versions can't be used willy-nilly and go nuts with them is because it doesn't matter if you use the motion or if you use the ability button, the cooldown is always going to be long. So if I do DP plus H and do this, even though I did the motion, look at the cooldown. That's a long cooldown. That is a very long cooldown. If I hit forward and it, you can see if I just hit forward and ability button, the cooldown's not even as long as the EX. If I do the EX uppercut, I don't have access to the EX uppercut for a long time. In fact, remember, when a move is in cooldown, I don't even have access to the L or the M version of those moves at all. I can't uppercut at all anymore until it comes back, and now I can finally uppercut. So it takes a while. So there is the downside of using EX special moves. Now this is starting to seem like, why would I ever want to do this? You saw how fast the fireball came back, but look how slow the EX fireball is coming back. This is taking a long time to come back. The reason is because EXs also give you a lot of special abilities that don't exist for the regular ones. I've been talking about this a lot, trying to get out of the corner, you know, like I don't want to be in the corner. I've hinted that being in the corner is a bad thing. Well, in Granblue Fantasy Versus, and in all fighting games, one of the reasons why you don't want to be put in the corner is because your movement is limited. You can't walk backwards, you can't escape from the opponent's pressure. The other reason is because most EX special moves in this game will give you extra combo abilities in the corner that are not available in the middle of the screen. So watch, when I hit her with this combo here, an EX fireball, look how far away she flies. She bounces super far away, and I really can't do anything anymore. But in the corner here, however, if I hit her with this EX fireball, she doesn't go anywhere. Which means Gran actually can keep a combo going. You see that? Since she's not flying so far away from me, I can keep the combo going. And then I can auto combo and then even continue that into an uppercut. So that is one of the advantages. You'll look at something like if I do quarter circle back plus heavy with the boot here, you see I kick her full screen away. Whoa, and then she flies away. However, in the corner, this now causes something known as a wall bounce. So instead of falling to the floor like this, now Catalina bounces off the wall. And the significance of bouncing off the wall is it gives me time to land from my move, recover, and keep attacking and continue the combo going.
She's formidable.
So once you start figuring this out and once you start realizing how all of this works, you can start doing some crazy things in the corner. And again, this is going to be something more complicated, but this is something that you'll eventually learn to do. So you'll be able to do stuff like this, into the wall bounce, into auto combos out of there. So now I've used 2 EXs. I've used the Fireball EX so I can keep juggling afterwards. And then I canceled the Fireball, canceled my juggle into the boot, which causes the wall bounce. And then they bounce off the wall, and then I can keep the combo going after that. And then I can even cancel into the uppercut if I wanted to. And that's how you start building the combos. Almost all of the long combos that you are going to find in Granblue Fantasy Versus are all going to be in the corner. This is where you're going to find most of the long combos, and this is why you don't like being there, because if you're in the corner, you're gonna get destroyed. You're just gonna get murdered, because once the opponent hits you, they can maximize their damage so much, and it's a very, very scary position to be in. But the question now is, if I wanted to do EX moves with just the ability button, can I? Well, yes, you can. So, for example, I said with Fireball, if I do quarter circle forward L, I throw a Fireball. If I do it with medium, I swing the sword first and then I throw the Fireball. And then if I do it with heavy, I do the EX version. Now you're wondering, if I hit ability, the only one I get is the light version. So how do I get the other versions? Does that mean I'm locked out from being able to do those versions? No. The way that you do the other versions, if I want to do a medium version of the Fireball, I hit the ability button and the medium button at the same time. And that allows me to come out with the medium version. If I do the special button and the heavy button at the same time, that lets me throw the EX version. Same thing if I hold forward. If I hit forward and hit the button, I come out with the DP. So, if I hold forward and hit the ability button and M, I come out with the medium version. And if I hold forward and hit special and the ability button and heavy, I come out with the EX version.
She's formidable.
Do note, however, that if you do the EX version via this shortcut on the ability button, even though the cooldown is long normally when you do the motion input, the cooldown is also longer when you use the ability button. On average, for the most part, I've noticed most EX cooldowns are around 10 seconds. And then if you do it with the ability button shortcut, it's about 12 seconds long instead. So it does take a little bit longer to do, to get back. Not by a significant amount, 2 more seconds, but 2 more seconds is kind of a lifetime in fighting games. So again, even though you have access to EX moves at the button press, if you can get good enough at using the motions, it's recommended. But if you aren't good at the motions, I can still do all these quarter combos without having to do the motions. So I can do like so. One more special ability that EX moves have that's very, very important to talk about. This is a big, big deal, especially in this game, and why you actually might want to set up and end a lot of your combos with EXs. This is a system mechanic that I'll get into in just a little bit, but you'll see this setting over here that says recovery on the training menu. What this means is that if I knock the opponent down, like let's say with my boot here, like this, you see when she hits the ground, she bounces off the ground and it says recovery on her side of the screen. Recovery. And she even plants her hand on the ground and gets up again. There's also the ability to do backwards recovery, in which she bounces even further from me. So what happens is if I do a combo into the boot like this, she gets away from me and is able to try to counter me closing the distance on her again, because she can recover from this knockdown into a recovery action. So I mentioned that if I hit you with the EX boot, I don't get the wall bounce in the corner, outside of the corner. I don't get the wall bounce. However, one thing that you'll want to note is that when I hit her with this EX boot, there's no recovery. Even though I have her set enabled to recover off of a knockdown, she can't recover. The same thing will go for air recoveries as well. If I DP somebody, they'll recover off the ground like that. You see how it says recovery over there. However, if I use the EX uppercut, she can't recover. And the reason why this is really nice, so if I use EX Fireball and they can't recover, this allows me to apply a lot more pressure to the opponent when they're getting up. So for example, if the opponent actually jumps at me here, like so, if they jump at me and I light DP them and they recover, I don't really get as much pressure action. But if they jump at me and I EX uppercut them, now they get knocked down, and look how much time I have to apply pressure to my opponent. I can do all sorts of things, and this is going to be very important to a lot of different characters. Character like Beelzebub is going to want to set up a vacuum that you wake up, that you get up off the ground into. Characters like Fairy are going to want to throw a Gigi so that she starts electrocuting when you get up into it. If they're able to back recovery and escape, then you aren't going to be able to keep this kind of pressure on them. But if you end your combos with EX moves instead, you can kind of guarantee yourself a way to apply that pressure.